So this is part two. In part one, um, the summary of part one might be that one can be thinking that one is working on a local letting go problem, but in fact be developing global letting go capacities. So it's meant to be kind of like a hopeful message, a hopeful statement, right? Instead of feeling hopeless that, wow, I've been stuck at this job for 3, 5, 10, 20 years, and the whole time I've not been satisfied, and yet I can't let go. But maybe underneath, there's a larger global psyche shift happening in terms of being able to let go of something that's so close to oneself, that's so close to one's deepest insecurities and fears. And so I would say that first video is describing that one can be working on a local problem and yet be solving a global problem. But I also think it can work in reverse, that one can work on things globally and have that work that's being done globally affect local issues. And in fact, my story in the first video is a testament to that, right? So I think I'm working on a local issue. There's a global shift that's happening underneath that I come to realize. And I come to realize it only because it's solved almost all of my local problems subsequently in the future. And I'm talking about not all life problems, but at least at that level to which I had let go, right? So Ajahn Chah's, so maybe before, maybe I was able to let go a little, so I could experience a little freedom. But through that experience, I'm now able to let go a lot. So now I get to have a lot of freedom. But also, I wouldn't never claim that I've let go completely. So I don't experience complete freedom, but maybe that's where I'm moving to, and that's where we're all moving to, those of us who are interested in spiritual development or growth. So anyway, so local leads to global, global can lead to local. So by the way, I took some notes, so that's why I'm glancing down. I took some notes after I shot my first video. But so what so if we want to support the local capacity to let go, so yeah, the relationship, the job issue, rather than working on that directly, maybe there are ways, or I would assert that there are ways that we can work on this global capacity to let go that can then sort of trickle down into our ability to let go at a more local level in terms of like, yeah, I can let go of this job or this relationship that's not hunky dory. It's good, it's decent, but maybe it's not enough, right? And by the way, when I say enough, I don't mean that one should be discontented with everything, right? I think there's a difference between saying this is not perfect, but it's enough. It's far from ideal, but it's enough, versus something's off here for me. The only reason I'm here is because I'm holding on out of fear, right? There's a difference between these two. So anyway, strangely enough, I happen to think that almost all spiritual practices are exercise in letting go. So for example, something so fundamental as forgiveness. What is forgiveness? It's just letting go. It's letting go of whatever agenda that I have or had on a person and saying, it is what it is, and what am I going to do about it? Nothing. So I just let it go. So I would say, like, that's just one example. The practice of forgiveness can help to develop our capacity to let go. And that, of course, informs our global capacity to let go, which then will start informing how we interact locally, such as in relation to a job that's not truly fulfilling. Also, letting go of our attachment to things, right? So let's say there's a bunch of stuff in the house that I'm lukewarm about. I don't really need that much, but I'm holding on because just in case I might need it in 2 years or whatever. But if I let it go, like throw it away in the trash or donate it somewhere, I'm practicing letting go. So again, that action can, people call it simplifying, but it's really just letting go, right? Letting go of our attachment to things. Also, like little squabbles that some of us might get into, little, petty little arguments, right? Just letting them go. That's also cultivating our capacity to let go. But also, so for example, if we get into a little petty argument and we're beset now by a troubled mind and a troubled heart, and there's nothing that we can do externally, yeah, but we're still troubled by it, then maybe there's a part of us that thinks, I should get over this, or I wish I had peace, right? But to drop those wishes and to allow for ourselves to be troubled, yeah, and to basically accept, oh, this is my mental state. Like, I can't just enter into a little squabble and then expect to have peace immediately. Maybe there's a little unrest for a couple hours or possibly for a couple of days, and to accept that, oh, this is just the nature of things. So that's a letting go into how things just are. Yeah. Some people call it acceptance, but acceptance to me is really just another word for letting go to things as they are. And so, and even the act of meditation, right? So if I say, why don't you sit there for 30 minutes, just semi-upright, relaxed, and just don't move a lot. I think if someone's not experienced in meditation, they'll be like, well, I want to move, or I don't want to sit here the whole time. I have things to do. So the whole 30 minutes is an act of letting go. The person has to let go of everything on their to-do list or their agenda, or the restlessness that they don't like, or suddenly maybe they have an emotion that they've been suppressing that comes up, and now they have to deal with the emotion. So they have to let go to the emotion being there. Most people won't want that emotion to have to deal with, but to let go means, oh, it's here, and I guess it's just here, and I just have to deal with the fact that it's here. I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm not going to try to control it. I'm not going to try to solve it or resolve it or heal it. I'm just going to let it be. And so that's letting go. And I would say meditation at its fundamental core is an act of letting go. We're letting go of our little tiny subtle and not so subtle agendas on reality, and sort of surrendering to things as they are, right? So, and when I say surrendering to things as they are, I don't mean just like things as they are out there, like people and the wars and the economy and people's behavior, but things as they are internally. So if we have shitty feelings, or if we're sick, or we have all these crazy thoughts that are, that are causing us to suffer, we also let go to that. We also accept those things as they are. We let go of our agenda of, oh, I wish I didn't have these thoughts. Oh, I wish I didn't have these feelings. I wish I didn't have these pains. That's our agenda. But the fact of the matter is, maybe there are pains. Maybe there are painful thoughts. Maybe there are difficult emotions. And so we let go. We let go so that we can say, they're allowed to, we can allow for them to be also. And that's an act of letting go. So all these practices and ways of letting go begin to inform who we are. They begin to shape our personality, our psyche. And once our psyche is shifted sufficiently, then letting go of a little job's not that big of a deal. And from my current standpoint, I can say letting go of a relationship is also not that hard. And if we have people that are dear to us who pass away, letting go of that is also not that challenging, because it's just a natural part of life. And I think if we're careful about examining things, we're not really letting people go. We're letting our attachment to our ideas about people go, right? It's about, the only way to get attached to a person is, I think, to surgically sew ourselves next to the person. That's the only way to get attached to a person. But other than that, what we call attachment to a person is usually our attachment to our ideas. And same with our jobs. We're not attached to jobs. We're attached to our ideas about what the job is. But anyway, that's a side point. But the main point is, as we practice so many ways of letting go, there's a quote that I like from the scholar, practitioner, teacher Atisha. The line is, the highest form of meditation is a mind that lets go. And so meditation at its highest point is the mind letting itself go. And so that's a wonderful practice if one has a practice like that. And one can also bring in things into one's life that help one to let go. Let me see where we are. Oh, we're almost at 10 minutes. So the same person who asked me a question asked me a separate question. that I think is related. This person said, um, Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss. Uh, a while back, you mentioned that you had your own version of it. What's your version? And I said, I don't really remember what I was thinking then, but I guess right now, off the top of my head, if I had to tell you my version of follow your bliss, I wrote it down. Uh, Follow what you find unpleasant, or pursue what you find to be unpleasant. That would be my version of follow your bliss. You might think that's kind of weird. It doesn't sound very fun like Joseph Campbell. And maybe Joseph Campbell's better. But I think he taught at an all-girls school. So I think that's a good message, maybe possibly for feminine people. But as a guy, as a man, that doesn't work for me. I'm not interested in following my bliss. But I follow, or I don't always, in fact, I hardly ever, but when I pursue that which I find to be unpleasant or full of displeasure, this is what happens. It's almost 12 minutes, so I'm going to go to the next video on this. So I'll pause right here.